Hello and welcome everyone to the Philadelphia Hearthstone Brotherly Brawl at local host. We have had a grueling day of Hearthstone competition, 5 rounds of Swiss between 18 people to eventually decide a top 4. So those 5 rounds of Swiss are completed. You had to go 4-1 if you wanted to make it to top 4.
It's pretty good.
It was quite the event. So we have Shifu, right? Shifu. I'm not exactly sure how we're going to pronounce this. We're going to butcher it 80 different times within the next series. He's actually playing my lineup, and my lineup is a mixture of oranges and Pavels from Summer Champs. So it's a pretty solid lineup. He's going 5-0. He has the #1 seed, and he's up against Physics. And Physics, Temple student, playing that came out here for the first time. One of the people who came for the Nemzi hero and stayed for winning games and taking dubs.
Well, it's good to hear that someone who showed up just for the Nemzi hero decided to stay. I know some people just wanted to get the hero and get out. But
We had a couple people actually walk in, get the hero, and walk out.
Always a shame. These in-person events are well worth sticking around for. I know I find Hearthstone much more enjoyable when you get to see your opponents. So hopefully these players feel the same. And it's great to hear that we have a larger turnout than some of the previous.
Yeah, I think the Nemzi hero got a lot of people to come out, and I think the tournament format got them to stay. So it seems like we'll see how that goes in the future, and we're definitely excited to see it grow. Philly Hearthstone coming at you, coming squad deep to Dream Haxes and Paxes, and I was trying to think of something that rhymes with Paxes, but I didn't.
Yeah, no.
We can't be as witty as the best casters, but we can try our best. We should be heading into games soon. Yeah, it's been a day. A lot of rogue, a lot of priest, a lot of druid.
Yeah, you know, there's that big 3 priest, druid, rogue that you'll see in basically everyone's lineup, and then the 4th deck is really anyone's guess.
For Physics, that 4th deck is a Shaman, and for Shifu, it is that Shaman. We got Druid banned for Shifu and Warlock banned for Physics. Interesting to see the Warlock banned out here, especially when you have so many strong other decks. Like, you want to really dodge those Priests and Druids.
Well, you know, Warlock on ladder has recently been, it's hit tier 1. And, you know, it's an aggressive deck that suddenly has this game plan in the end game of just playing Gul'dan, and you know, you've got your Bone Mares. It can have a top end of the curve that you wouldn't expect from an aggressive deck, especially the way Zulux usually capped out at 5 on Doomguard.
Yeah, I think Physics has what some would like to call the nuts here. If you just take a look at this big priest, not Rizaka's priest. And
yeah,
there is some serious nuts coming out right now, so I think we're going to see Coin Barns.
It's looking pretty strong, and potentially with that silence, you can silence the 1/1 and just end up with a big creature if you'd rather have that. I actually would like to see that here. It looks like may go for
So he's
it.
thinking, do I want the card, or do I want an 8/8?
You know, if it was Yasharaj, I would expect that you would let it stay because it'll pull out a big threat, but I'm happy to see the silence come out here. Just that turn 3 8/8 is going to be very powerful in this matchup.
Seems good, man. That's a lot of stats on turn 3.
And should it be cleared, it'll still be able to resurrect the 8/8.
As a full functioning 8/8.
Of course.
As a fully functioning Lich King.
And
And
classic.
it is time to go for the Rogue. The Rogue is saying it is time to play Hearthstone. There's an 8/8 in my face, and I need to act now.
Yeah, usually, you know, Bitter Tide on 5 is a pretty early 8/8, but pointing out that Barnes has really put the big priest in the driving seat here.
I think Shifu is going to definitely drop this Hydra. I don't really think there's too many other plays you can go with. It can test the Lich King. Unfortunately for him, Physics just has
Double death.
double death. He doesn't even have to trade into it. If he wants to trade into it, it's fine. He can just save the death for other threats, Bone Mare threats.
Now, given that the big priest is still a control player, so I'll expect his next trade is going to be into the South Sea deckhand after the death comes down on the Bitter Tide. But card advantage is pretty in favor of the priest here.
So is there merit to trading into the captain instead of the deckhand here? So you death
Sorry,
the Hydra?
I misspoke. I meant captain.
Yeah, because I mean,
they're both
especially
South Sea.
especially yeah, they're both from the same area. It's fine. They're probably cousins. You pick up the Holy Nova, and with the Holy Nova pickup, you have so many more options to just clear this board.
Shaku has a chance to maybe pull something, some kind of miracle out of the hat. I'm surprised to
not see the 2-1 go into the 8-2. Yeah, I'm also surprised to see that.
Surprised not to see that trade. I suppose the goal there is to
win the race.
Well, not so much win the race, but to not see it resurrected as an 8-8 taunt.
That's very possible, but the horror comes out as the best answer that could have come out. Physics in the driver's seat. This Lich King has been hitting the face and trading since turn 3.
Yeah, Shadowblade plus Deckhand could clean it up, but, you know, at this point, you have to wonder, like, why didn't you just trade in the first South Sea?
Yeah, now, like, if you're going to kill it now, why didn't you kill it before? And here's may I have another? Yes, you may. Yes, you may, Physics. Yes, you may.
And I expect that'll wrap it up. Leroy plus Shadowblade can clear the Lich King, but
we can see a Vile Spine.
there's oh yeah,
There it
no,
is.
There
There's
it
the
is,
top
off
decks,
the top,
heart of the cards.
Off the top. But still, Leroy is a bit of a dead card when your opponent's sitting at 23.
And he whiffs on the second Eternal Servitude, which is definitely what he was digging for. Is he going to Shadow Essence out? Another Lich King, why not? Why not have another? Like, at this point, why not? Oh, and Frostmourne is so good.
That card advantage. Frostmourne, you know, very crucial in those matchups against Jade Druid, but just as powerful for clearing up.
So this now gets
minions.
spicy. We have Devour Mind, and
Oh,
see, that's so spicy.
Is.
That
Anduin could throw a wrench into plans. There's plenty of cheap cards to trigger that hero power. It doesn't have to be free to get in that damage.
I don't know if it's enough of a swing. I think depending on what comes out here, I mean, now you just play your actual Lich King probably.
that will make was that 3 Lich Kings played 4? 4?
Those will be the 4th Lich King.
Yeah.
One of them didn't do anything except be an 8-8.
Right.
One of them was a 5-5. But there will be 2 actual Lich Kings doing things this game.
And with that 4th Lich King, I expect to see, yep, Snap Anduin. Who
But this
needs
is
a
an
1-2 weapon?
insane pickup. This Anduin is insane.
It truly is, and honestly, that's one thing about stealing cards from a big priest is, I mean, if you hit the top end of their curve, it's all gas.
He hit all of the gas. That was 8, 9, 10 he picked up. He picked up 8, 9,
best
10.
hits he could have picked up there. So, yeah, as those burgled cards can do for a rogue.
Now, how good is Yasiraj in Rogue?
You know, it's not amazing because you do have your combo cards and the like that, you know, you'd really like to get their effect, but at this point, I think you're happy to have a 10-10 and whatever minions you can get on board.
Yeah. So it sounds like Ysera comes down. Rumor has it that a 4-12 is very difficult to deal with.
You know, it is typically difficult for a priest. However, there is Frostmourne in hand. That won't quite wrap it up, but Silence at least can take care of that card advantage.
This
being
anti-magic
generated.
shell is also absolutely huge. Unfortunately, they can still be targeted by Vile Spine.
True enough. And if Physics is so lucky to pick up a Shadow Step, then be able to cleanly take care of both of these large anti-magic threats.
Yes. That would be insane if a Shadow Step does get picked up. It is in the deck. There are 2 of them.
I like the face hit here. You know, if you can't clear the Ysera this turn.
Is he not going to do it, though? I don't think he's going to do it. I think he played too quickly. He didn't think. He played too quickly. He missed the opportunity to clear both of them.
Well, I mean, He may just be thinking about the taunt and this nightmare.
And he's also able
take care of
to.
the other one.
I don't hate that.
No,
I don't
it's
hate
not
it.
bad.
I think it's better to Shadow Step, but I think that's fine too. I think it's one of those things where he saw the line and he tunnel visioned and saw the line, and it worked.
Yeah, and Potion of Madness burned, not too much of an issue at this point in the game. Now though, no clean way of getting rid of this is Sarah. Was surprised not to see the silence last turn, as those cards can build up.
Yes, yes they can. So he's gonna go face with the Frostmourne. I like it.
Yeah, at this point you know, well, there's one last stolen card. It's probably not going to be enough heal.
It's probably not Yasiraj.
Right. This represents lethal next turn with Ysera Awakens. So as long as there's no taunts coming down, that Frostmourne hit Ysera Awakens is going to take the match.
Is there a second Tar Creeper that he could pull?
I thought we
Nope.
saw both of them.
I think we did see both of them.
Yeah.
Bone Mare's not going to do it. That's just going to wrap it up. I mean, sometimes you have the nuts.
Sometimes you have the nuts. That for sure would have been a different game without the turn 3 Lich King, but the early lead pulled it all
Yeah,
together.
so with that, Physics is going to pick up a win with his Priest over Shifu's Rogue. So that's a 1-0 lead for Physics, which is always nice in the Conquest format to get that first win and take a breath.
Always nice to have that momentum, and you can always, you know, switch it up. So that was one thing with DreamHack and Last Hero Standing is
Physics won with his Priest
game one.
over Shifu's Rogue.
Yeah, with Last Hero Standing, you know, your opponent gets to knowingly counter Q. But Conquest, you get your win, and in some sense, you almost have the advantage because your opponent is likely to queue the same deck.
And as far as hands against Rogue goes, it's pretty solid.
Yeah, Devolve, even against a Keliseth hand, quite strong. And that Crab may do some work. No Pirates in hand yet for Physics, but...
Do you like the Jade Claws there?
You know, personally, I think it's fine.
It's fine.
I would have hated to see it coined out.
Oh, yeah.
Because Shaman at this point doesn't really have a lot of turn 1 plays without Tunnel Trog. But turn 2 Jade Claws I think is fine. I usually like to hold it back to keep the element of surprise. But what Physics is probably trying to do is just to manage his
set up
overload.
his curve as well.
Right, yeah. There are 2 Warlocks on Physics side, so
there
hopefully we'll
should
get
be
that
a Priest instead.
fixed up. Yeah. Volcano
Whoa.
comes into the hand.
This is a little more control-y than we thought it would be.
Yeah, I had been expecting just your typical Evolve Shaman, but it seems this may be more of a Jade brew.
I mean, I like it. I think it's still... I think the Doppel and Evolves are probably some of the last things you cut from the deck.
For sure.
So I think you can run the Jade Brew and still have the Doppel Evolve and
It's
probably
possible.
even Thrall.
Right. Well, and Thrall, you know, on those Jades, once they really get up there, and mana cost turns them from vanilla creatures into potentially...
Specifically the
more
Jade
threatening
Chieftain as
decks.
well. That's 7 mana, 5/5.
Absolutely.
You can
And
dink that into an
the
8-drop real quick.
even the Jade Spirit, you know, is poorly statted for a 4-cost minion, but if you can evolve it, 5-drop is much more appealing. We may be seeing that Volcano come down this turn. Too bad, as it's always a wonderful time to drop a Volcano on Bittertide Hydra.
Yes, maybe we will see that next turn. Because this turn we can just see the Nom Nom come down from the Glocka Crawler.
Yeah,
And
glad
heal
to
up, and this will
glad to see
control
that
the board.
patience. Devolve can even be fantastic against those pirate hands.
And I think the 2 options that Shifu has here is he could... I mean, you really want to save those Vile Spines, but if you want tempo on this board, you're going to have to play one, unfortunately.
Yeah,
and
he's
you're not
not-
going to feel good about it, but you're going to have to do it.
Yeah, and there's haven't been time to squeeze in those hero powers, so But after seeing one Vile Spine down, now may be the time.
I actually do not hate shadow stepping. Maybe you have the second Vile Spine in hand so you don't have to shadow step. I'm trading here 10 times out of 10.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you know, he's got the Vile Spine
There's
theoretically
Chain
protected
Gang in
behind
here.
a Tar Creeper. Chain Gang Evolve is certainly not a bad
Very good play.
Alright, yeah, recognizing the threat of
Shadow step.
Shadow Step.
And I actually think it's Hydra time for Shifu, and he might just walk right into this volcano.
Yeah, it's gonna be dangerous.
There's really not much you can do about it because you have to play the Hydra. You can't just be like, I'm gonna play around volcano.
You know, Hydra is both an early threat and a comeback mechanic in terms of getting back on the board. And yeah, unfortunately, that volcano is just gonna represent 24 points of damage to the face.
So now let's take a second and think of. Oh yeah, and Physics knows what has just happened. He is very excited to see this Hydra come down.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Volcano as a tech card for a second, because if you see a lot of Rogue, what else runs it? So Rogue runs it. Oh, he also gets the Maelstrom Portal to think F3 extra damage. Is this just lethal?
I'm not sure that was actually extra damage.
No, it wasn't, because it's still 7 health. Was it? No, Ego's face?
Yeah, I'm a little confused by that Maelstrom Portal, as you could have just played the Volcano.
He's still dead.
Yeah, there weren't enough
This is still
stats
lethal.
for it. Yeah, between the claws and the 2/2 golem, that is going to be exact lethal.
Wow, and it's like you really can't play around that because you can't just say I'm never going to play Hydra against the Shaman. You need to stick Hydra.
If you're expecting it to be more of your run-of-the-mill evolve token Shaman.
That has to be exactly what Physics put this card in his deck for.
Yeah.
He had to have put it in for
Absolutely.
Hydra.
I know I've done that in the past when Pirate Warrior, it became very popular to run Hydra. I was playing a Goya Shaman.
Oh,
and,
the Goya Shaman.
Volcano was an all-star in dealing with those Hydras and just, you know, putting a clock on them.
Yeah, I mean
24 damage, one card is it's quite strong.
Quite a lot. Here's Physics with his Rogue against the Razaka's Priest of Shifu. I think Firefly is the best one drop in your deck, and I think you play it most of the time.
Yeah.
There's no punish for playing the Swashbuckler on turn 1.
Well, and there is potentially a punish for playing the Firefly instead. You could draw patches. Many players argue, you know, just play it, get it out of the way, so that you don't have that terrible top deck of patches.
That is fair. It depends how bad you think your RNG is.
It's a moment where you really want to, you know, try and do a bit of hand tracking, check how many cards your opponent mulliganed. You know, if you know what's in their deck, knowing obviously the threat of Galactic Crawler,
Yes.
can make a difference of whether you want to risk drawing patches or not.
Maybe I'm a bit skewed because I know what's in the Priest deck. I know there is a Crawler. There happened to not pick one up.
Sure.
But if Crawler's in your hand, you actually just lost tempo to Razaka's Priest, which is crippling.
As it stands, though, the captain gave a couple extra points of damage there. Not long for this world. I wonder if this Plague Scientist will play a part. I'd like to see here, though, a 4/4 Edwin.
I think most of the time you're going to just drop a 4/4 Edwin. I don't see any other great play. Every other combo piece has value. So this is tempo, 4/4. Try to avoid throwing a nickel in the caster jar by saying that 4/4s are tough to deal with for Priest. But if you don't know it by now, it's pretty good.
The pint-sized potion has, you know, replaced Shrinkmeister as getting around that rule, but yeah, Death has already come down, and now that we see this coin being used, Dragonfire Potion is ways away.
So I assume it was for the heal.
I would guess, you know, it's a decent amount of heal, but I am surprised to see.
I'm a doctor. I love this card. It didn't make its way in Rogue the way that I wanted it to,
you know,
but it made its way in Rogue, and I'm very happy about it.
I think it's a tech choice that, like, some people, they try it, it works out very well for them. Others just find it to be a dead card. It seems to be just like, depends on who you ask whether they like it or not.
Muzzy considers it almost the optimal tech.
You know, being able to have 4 creatures that just say kill something is it was pretty good as a tempo deck.
It is also, it's tough to argue with Muzzy sometimes. I find it difficult. I find it a little difficult to argue with Muzzy.
It is fairly difficult to argue with, you know, high ladder finisher and regular, you know, DreamHack champion.
Yes. Regularly winning DreamHacks.
I suppose he only has 1 win, but, you know, he has high finishes.
Yes. Ooh, when he picks up the horror, I think that's useful within the next few turns.
Yeah.
We can death down the 6/6. Turn 7, we live. You know, we can survive to our Anduin.
Yeah, Pint-Sized Horror would be able to take care of that Edwin.
He's gonna hold the heal for the burst later on.
Sure, you know, combined with the Prophet, can really put you out of range.
So that should have went on Edwin, right? In order to survive Pint-Sized Horror.
Yeah, it might have been a rush play. Might have just not been thinking about it. Maybe thinking more about Dragonfire Potion, but I think in most situations you would want it on the Edwin, especially after already seeing death come down.
Yeah. I mean, so he's just going to push a bunch of damage here, though. Is it lethal? It's lethal. He's outsmarted us. He saw the lines.
I guess so.
He saw the lines. Physics sees the lines and picks up a swift 3-0.
That was quite a fast series, I must have.
That
admit.
was very quick. So Physics is going to take this semifinal victory, and we'll move on to our finals. Shifu still has a chance in the consolation to pick up that tasty third place, and get in the money.
Always feels good, especially on, you know, I don't know if he intended to stay after getting the Nemzi hero,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, so we're going to bring you in for an interview. What's up, man?
It wasn't too bad. I think that Volcano and Bitterspite was pretty damn great. I kind of just smiled.
Did you tech in Volcano just for that?
No, it is a control Shaman deck that
Okay.
runs 2 Volcanoes and 1 Bloodlust.
Do you still run Doppelgangster and Evolve?
Yes.
Of course. That's what I was
It
thinking.
runs the Evolve package and the Jade package.
So going for more of a mid-range Jade Evolve kind of
Yeah.
deck? Yeah.
It does pretty well. It focuses more on countering aggro in the early game and then tries to keep up with Razaka's Priest in the late game.
Sure.
You can still get there with a Doppel Evolves. I like that deck.
It's not too bad. You have to get really lucky, like actually curve 6 Doppelganger Evolve for it.
Speaking of getting lucky,
That Barnes on
Big
turn
Priest.
4.
That
Let's
priest
talk about Big
game.
Priest for a minute. How do you... So you see Barnes in your opening hand. You have Coin. You see Eternal Servitude.
Yeah.
You just have to think I have this in the bag, right?
I was smiling the entire time. I don't know how many Lich Kings I had to make him kill. I think it was like 4.
I think we got to...
Yeah, it hit 4.
4. I think 4
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
the final tally.
Seemed like it might get closer with the you never saw the third card,
Yeah,
but
no,
that,
I wasn't actually planning to use Big Priest, but I thought it was like best of 3. So the fact that I had the extra deck was just the fact there. I don't have Razaka's Priest, so Big Priest was the only thing that I had.
Yeah, and maybe sometimes just Priest gets banned, so you don't have to even run Big Priest.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's a good deck, and the game got a little spicy there because he Devour-minded the 3 best cards in your deck against you, probably.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
Yashiraj, Ysera,
It was-
and Anduin.
Yeah, that Anduin was a real big problem. I honestly thought that I was going to run out of steam, but the Yashiraz on turn 10 kind of just gave me enough damage. Also, the Urzura awakens 5 damage to face, and everyone else's, I've always said, is stupid.
It's very nice. So you will get to watch the next semifinal match, and we will see you again in the spotlight for the final. We will be right back.
All right.
Thanks, man.
Congratulations.
Thank you.